Welcome to the Hilarity Ensues podcast, hosted by Donna, the queen of quick wit, and Jeff, the dean of devious double entendres. Together, they're on a mission to find the funny in life using nothing but their critical thinking skills and sarcasm.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Hilarity Ensues. I'm your host, Donna, and Jeff is not joining us here today. Today, though, Jeff is traveling. He's celebrating yet another year around the sun. He most definitely will be back next week. And today's show is going to be about AI. Here's the deal with this show. In order to create that equal balance and present both sides of an issue, you may find that I might be saying some things at times that contradicts something that I said 3 minutes ago. I just want to present both sides. So, of course, our show is always designed to kind of challenge that critical thinking that lies within. What brought me to talk about this show today, because I read an article about a study that was done at Stanford, and a student by the name of Myra Cheng and her advisor, Dan Jurafsky, did a test on 11 different AI models with students. Now, the common AI models that we're all familiar with, of course, ChatGPT, OpenAI, Claude, Gemini, but they tested 11 of them. And basically, what they were testing initially was to see how agreeable AI was with its subjects. And what they noted was that 49% of the time, AI is going to agree. The second phase of the study, they went to 2,400 participants and they discussed real life conflicts. Some interacted with agreeable, some interacted with psychophanetic AI. Okay. And what they found was that people who used the more agreeable AI became more convinced that they were right, less likely to apologize, because if I think I'm right, I'm not going to apologize, and less likely to accept any responsibility. And here's the kicker: they're more likely to return to AI for advice. Okay. And what I've discovered in AI, more and more, we're starting to hear a lot about it. You know, we got Tony Robbins doing infomercials about how he's going to teach people how to use AI in their business. That's a different show for a different day. But AI is here, and there's some people that love it and some people that hate it. I will say this, right? I use AI. Okay. I think most people in any kind of business space, they do use AI. Now, with anything, there comes a level of responsibility as to how you use it. When I do these shows, when I organize what we're going to talk about, I run it through AI for a couple of things. Sometimes to fact check some of the things that I'm saying, and AI can be wrong sometimes, I will say that, and to kind of organize the flow so we have a structure. But I have found people that have said to me that AI is kind of like my therapist. I ask them questions, and the reason why they like it and they've conditioned themselves to believe that AI might be a therapist for them is because AI is calming and agreeable for them. It offers no resistance, no pushback. And anyone that's gone through any kind of therapy in their life can attest to the fact therapists by nature are not highly agreeable. They offer a lot of pushback at times. That's how we develop and how we grow and how we move through challenges when we go through therapy. So we have to use AI responsible. And we also have to realize that AI is not that bright sometimes. If you own an Apple phone and you have Siri, you know that Siri can be dumb sometimes. You'll ask Siri to do something, she doesn't understand it. So we've gone through that evolution of thinking that, wow, Siri is the next best thing to slice bread, to realizing that Siri's not that bright sometimes. I know Alexa, me and Alexa, we have battles sometimes because Alexa sometimes asks us if she's hard of hearing. Alexa kind of gets a little snippy with me sometimes. Alexa sometimes says she doesn't know when it comes to basic rudimentary rudimentary things that I'm asking her questions on. And I think we need to kind of go through the cycle of realization when it comes to AI that, you know what, it is a tool. That's all it is. It is a tool. It's a tool that's not going anywhere. AI is kind of like a version of Google on steroids. The same way we go to Google with questions is the way we're going to AI now with questions. We have to recognize it's a tool. And I think the reason why people trust AI so quickly is because of that agreeable nature that it makes them feel good. It makes them feel as if they're validated in their decision making, makes them feel that they're right. It gives them some reassurance. But here's the danger of AI. As humans, we like agreement. So it's very easy to fall into the trap of something that's so agreeable with you. But the danger is, although AI can be helpful, helpful can slowly become validating, and validating can slowly become enabling. And that's a very slippery slope. So I'm encouraging you to use caution in here. Now, I'm going to flip this other side because I've met some people that they're like, I don't like AI, AI. And I find this because I have a lot of people that I'm friends with. They're in the arts, they're writers, they're artists, they're musicians. And they're like, AI is taking over content. You go and there's music now on streaming that's AI generated. People are writing novels and screenplays using AI. And people in that sphere, they hate it. They're very sensitive to AI. And there's also people that are very environmentally conscious. AI does a huge strain on our water supply. Here's the hypocrisy that lies within that. The same people that hate AI, I notice that every 18 months when Apple has a new launch of an iPhone, they're the first person in line to get one. Let's disregard the fact that there are kids in the Congo that are getting buried under rubble trying to mine for the stuff that makes up the battery for these phones. That's a hypocrisy there. Or you drive an electric vehicle, but you don't embrace AI. There's a hypocrisy there. We can't be selective in the technology that we're willing to embrace and the ones that we're going to turn our nose up and kind of hold a hand up and say, no, that's bad. That's bad. But the honest answer here, I think, is why they fear AI is because there's a fear of being replaced, that something's going to come in and take over for what we used to do and will no longer be needed. There has always been a time in life where people have had fear over being replaced. There are things that we do now that years ago never happened. I'm going to use this when it comes to automatic checkout lanes in supermarkets. There are people that they're like, no, I'm not doing that job. That's what cashiers are for. But slowly over time, you either fall in or fall out, meaning either you get in that self-checkout line and check yourself out, or you put your stuff back and you don't shop there because you might be in a supermarket where they don't have an actual cashier on the register. Or if they do, you got to wait in line behind 12 other people where the self-checkout lane only has 2 people there. So you either fall in or fall out. The other thing that I noticed where people were very resistant, I lived in Florida and I lived in New York. And when it came to expressway tolls, people were like, no, I'm just going to go through the toll collector. I'm going to go ahead and preserve jobs. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to throw change in a basket. I'm not going to get a transponder so Big Brother can watch me and know where I'm going. Newsflash. If you have a cell phone, Big Brother already knows what you're doing and where you're going. Hang that shit up. Anyway, people fall in or they fall out. And what's happening now is that they've completely bypassed that. It's if you have a transponder, great. If not, you're going to get a toll notice by mail to pay the toll. So people have to really decide, what hill are you willing to die on here? Okay. AI, like I said, AI is a tool. AI is a tool to kind of ease the burden of workload. If you are in finance, if you are in law, and I know people in these spaces that review a lot of documents, AI helps you to filter, to organize, to categorize, and otherwise something that would take you days to do, now you're able to do it in minutes by the use of this tool. It eases up your workload and your burden. People are using AI right now to write their resumes. We have ATS systems that are tracking keywords, and people are realizing in this tough job market, hey, I need to make my resume compatible. I need to be compatible in this market. And one of the ways is making sure that I'm hitting as many keywords as possible and having them in my resume. People are using AI to write dating profiles. They use it to draft work emails. And someone that I was consulting with a few weeks ago, I told him, I said, you are an analytical person. And there are different personality styles. When you have an analytical person, they like a lot of details. When you're dealing with someone that's a driver, they like the Cliff Notes version. So I'm like, perhaps use AI when you're crafting an email to this person that's a driver, asking the prompt to make what you're saying concise. This way, something that's going to take you 3 paragraphs to spit out, you're able to do it in less than 1. AI helps you to do that. People are using AI for school assignments, but universities and high schools are really getting hip to that. And there are things that they have in place as far as keystrokes and stuff like that to see if you are actually writing this. People are using AI. Social media content creators are using AI for their social media captions and posts. And with this article, what prompted this study here at Stanford is they found that people were using AI for breakup texts. Imagine that. Imagine that. I remember Sex in the City where Carrie Bradshaw got a breakup on a post-it note and she thought that was bad. Imagine finding out the person that broke up with you crafted that response on AI. Ooh, ouch. People say AI is ruining humanity, and that's a common thing for people to say when they're in fear. And I think that's what it is. People fear AI because they don't have a true understanding of it and they don't know how to use it. And people, when they fear something, it's really easy for them to try to dismiss it. A lot of companies are leaning into AI and replacing workers with AI. Smart companies are doing this on a slow uptick, meaning a company that's not financially sound, they'll say, oh, wow, I could go ahead and I could do this with AI. Let me go ahead and get rid of 75% of my workforce and then lean into AI. That's a very bad move because there's still a learning curve with AI right now. And you do not want to position yourself as a business to kind of fall back when AI isn't ramping up to the speed that you needed to ramp up into in your business. Here's something I want to challenge you with too, if you're someone that uses AI, okay? I have a friend of mine, really good friend. She's an AI and she's in the cyber section of AI, the security section, so that AI doesn't become highly agreeable with me. She told me when I do my prompts, always to play devil's advocate so that it doesn't necessarily fall in line to try to agree with me and it gives me a varying point of view. When AI doesn't challenge you, it's getting you to become accustomed to less resistance. I won't get into politics and our economic climate here, but I'm going to tell you this right now. When you don't have resistance, things don't improve, they don't excel. You need sometimes a little resistance. You need a little bit of disagreement. When AI is so agreeable, it does reinforce selfish thinking. It becomes not a we, but a me thing. It encourages that victim mentality and it removes the nuances, the simple nuances of life. And overall, I think if we lean into having relationships with AI rather than focusing on relationships with people, you position yourself to live a life in solitude because people by nature aren't highly agreeable. And if everyone thinks they're right, how can we agree? How can we come to a common consensus here? Here's the pros of AI. Okay, I told you I'm going to go through some pros here. Like I mentioned before, if you're in business, AI can help you organize your thoughts. Let's say you're doing a brain dump and you have all these things floating around in your head and you type that into the keyboard, all your thoughts. AI will help you organize those thoughts. AI can assist you with learning. Like I said, AI is an expanded version of Google. AI can help you improve your communication. If you're writing an email, it'll help you improve your communication. If you're someone that has a tough time formulating your words and putting them together and expressing yourself, AI can help you too. And if you're that person that you don't have anyone to talk to and you're looking for emotional support, AI can do that too. And here's the real talk here, where AI in comparison to humans. As humans can be very dismissive. We all lead very busy lives. And sometimes humans kind of get caught up in their own own silos, and they can become very dismissive. They can be cruel. Because we have all these things going on, they might not be available on your clock when you need them to be available. And they could be a little bit judgmental. AI just feels safer. And one of the reasons why AI feels safer is that last part. There's no judgment with the AI. AI isn't going to come back to you yet. I have a feeling this might change. But AI isn't going to come back to you and say, you know what, you're being an idiot here. What are you talking about? AI is not going to do that. And some people, now that I think about it, some people aren't addicted to AI because it's amazing. I think they're addicted to AI because sometimes humans, we can be exhausting. There's sometimes you just want to vent out to people and say what's going on in your life and get it out. And you might have that one friend that might ask you 500 questions while they're trying to get it out. And that in itself can be exhausting when you just want to purge and get it out. Now, here are the challenges, the cons of AI. It's an echo chamber, meaning it's just you and your thoughts coming back to you. There's no devil's advocate. There's not a different point of view that you're being exposed to. There's no challenge in your thought. AI creates that emotional dependency. And like I said earlier, it reduces your accountability. AI doesn't say, you know what, Donna, what role did you play in this situation? What could you have done different? And that's what a human would do. It'll challenge you. And because it reduces your accountability and gives you that false sense of security, it creates a false confidence. It replaces human interaction. And here's the deal here. At the end of the day, at some point, at some time, eventually, you're going to have to deal with other humans. And you are going to have to learn how to navigate situations with other humans. Unless you go and live on an island by yourself and you bring your phone and a charger and you sit there and you talk to AI. You could do that. Doesn't make sense to do that, but you can. Now, here's my perspective. I'm a Gen Xer. Jeff and I, we're both Gen Xers, right? I grew up getting corrected directly. Anytime something went wrong, whether it was in my home or on the street, people call you on the carpet. You know what I got used to hearing a lot of? The word no. And for many years, I was in sales. I was in commission sales. And we hear no a lot. And our philosophy was you got to hear at least 10 no's before you get a yes. So you become very accustomed to hearing no. Some people have a challenge with hearing the word no. If you do not hear no at least on a daily basis, at least one time, you're in the wrong group of people. You need to hear no a few times. It builds character. Trust me, it builds character, right? And more importantly, I grew up learning conflict resolution face to face. And I will say this, I learned conflict resolution face to face and I learned consequences. Meaning, I learned how to duke it out with people and figure it out face to face. And there are consequences. You say the wrong thing to someone, they might slap you or you might slap them. That's consequence. I personally don't think that people are experiencing enough consequences in their life. Again, I won't get into our political climate right now, but I think if people have experienced more consequences, the world will be a different place. I'm just saying. Now, here's where we live in a time. I don't like what you have to say on social media, so I'm going to block you. I'm just going to hide from you. I don't get that at all. I don't like what you have to say. I can tell you, I don't like what you have to say. I don't have to play this game with you. It's a different show, different time. Anyway, no one wants to feel discomfort. If Jeff was here, Jeff would tell you, I thrive in uncomfortable situations. I live to see people uncomfortable. I will say things or respond because I really do like seeing the discomfort with people. Because you know what? Most people aren't comfortable being uncomfortable. And again, I think that's something we lost over time. We've kind of gotten soft here. Now, I've kind of gone through all of these things about AI and the pros and the cons and all the things that AI can benefit or some of the cons of where we can lose ourselves with AI. But ultimately, AI reflects humanity. It reflects our bias. It affects our ego. It reflects our loneliness and our need for validation. And I don't think the real question may be, is AI dangerous? The real question may be, why do humans crave agreement so badly? Something to think on. Well, that's it for today's show. Please listen to this broadcast to the very end. We need these download numbers here. If you have any questions for us, please email us at hilarityandzoozpod@gmail.com. We welcome show ideas or feedback or just chat with us. Also, follow us on Hilarity and Sue's Pod on Instagram and on TikTok. And as always, we may not have all the answers, but we'll definitely make you think. Thank you for tuning in and goodbye for now.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Hilarity Ensues. Our fantastic music soundtrack is brought to you by TL Music Productions exclusively for Hilarity Ensues. Be sure to connect with us on social media by following Hilarity Ensues Podcast.